So as soon as it tells me there's a signal, I tagged you, it's going to go automatically on your page.
Okay.
And now give me a second because I have to, when it goes live, I have to make sure that it's public because it.
Good.
Hi, everybody. We're almost ready to introduce our wonderful entertainer guest who I've been posting about for a couple days. Hold on. Hi, everybody. We're almost ready to introduce. Be quiet. Stupid thing. Why is this always? Oh my gosh. I wish that I'm trying to do this. It just takes 1 second, you guys. Yeah, it would have been a waste of time if I wouldn't have clicked that. So thanks for waiting, everybody. Facebook people, I'm doing the intro of our guest right now, and then we're going to go to our guest. And you better get ready for this because this guy is a fireball. He's a spitfire. That's for sure. Let me read you this really long intro he gave me because he's so vain. Modern novelties by the sexiest guy in the world, Fletcher Rhoden. Woo!
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm like Johnny Depp. I drink too much wine. I'm like Ethan Hawke, but that doesn't rhyme. I'm like Brad Pitt. I cheated on my wife. I'm like George Clooney. I disappeared from your life. What do these men have in common with me? Just take a look, it's easy to see. I'm the sexiest guy in the world. I'd have to be, right? I'm like Clark Gable. I'm like Fred Astaire, but you're probably too young to know those people are, so you don't care. What do these men have in common with me? Just take a look, it's easy to see. I'm the sexiest guy in the world. I'd have to be, right? All the girls want to have sex with me. That's not true, but it helps with the story. I'm young and I'm tall and I got a big cock. That's also false, but I'll sing it in waltz time. And I'm the sexiest guy in the world. Oh, I'm the sexiest guy, the dyslexiest guy in the world. The sexiest guy in the world. Oh, I'm the sexiest guy. I'm the onlyest guy, but I'm the loneliest guy in the world.
Yay.
Oh, did I win your sympathy? Enough to make you want to have sex with me, cause I'm the sexiest guy in the world. Oh, I'm the sexiest guy, the dyslexiest guy in the world. Sexiest guy in the world. Oh, I'm the sexiest guy. I'm the sexiest guy. But you, Linda Marcus Smith, are the cutest girl.
Hey, Fletcher, that was awesome.
Thank you for having me on your show, Linda.
Thank you for taking the time to come on my show. You're coming from so far away. You're one floor underneath me in the hotel where we live in Vegas. And it looks like we both, if I put this on gallery view, it looks like we're in the same room. But the problem is my picture is longer than your picture.
You know, it actually sounds like we're in the same room because my headphones aren't working. So I'm gonna pull them. Does this still work for you?
Yes, it works great.
Okay, good.
So I just want to get to the whole interview and then you can do some more songs for your many, many fans.
I'm so anxious to do that. And
You're
all
gonna
your many, many fans. But let me just take a minute to say congrats to you on a great set last night and on your awesome success here in Vegas and on your show. I love it all.
Thank you. You've been a supporter of me for a long time. And
Yes.
I got to
You
see
owe me.
you. I owe you. And I saw you perform in Portland at a really terrible venue that was not friendly to some comics. And I didn't get to see the full Fletcher Rhoden until you came to Vegas. and got to perform where you were really wanted on a stage, and you slayed. You slayed. You were so good, so professional. You're at
Thank
a
you.
level so above so many other artists that do this sort of novelty act. You call it a novelty act, is that correct?
Modern novelties, yes.
Modern
Comedy
novelties.
songs are generally called novelties, novelty songs.
Yes.
And these are modern novelties because they're new. They're not, the old ones. Novelties.
Modern novelties. Like that is not something that makes sense to me because I'm not in the music world. And it almost, when it comes off my tongue, it almost sounds like, I got a phone call. Must be a booty call again. But so
It's my turn.
At least in my head it is. So, well, like when I say you're a novelty act, I feel like I'm saying something demeaning, but that's not how you hear it at all.
No, I understand what you're saying though. It does sound a bit derogatory, but this is what novelties are, comedy songs. It's just what they're called.
Gosh, it sounds like.
But I agree. It does sound kind of weird.
Somebody needs to come up with a much better term for that, because I think that it in entertaining, it's like, oh, we have a comedian, and then we have a novelty act, like I don't like echelons,
No,
higher.
I get it.
Yeah. But
you are really so. Though, I mean, it's a great tradition though, to be in the novelties tradition. I mean, that includes Ray Parker's The Streak and Weird Al Yankovic and lots of Shut Up You Face, and which is a favorite of my brother's, Paul. I don't know if you're watching, Paul, but hey, how you doing?
Hi, Paul. In Oregon, right?
Paul in Oregon, that's right.
Eugene. Go Ducks.
That's right. That's exactly right. So it's a worthy tradition. I feel I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, good. Thanks for sharing. Now for the important stuff. Just kidding. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to imitate. Who is it? That guy that is famous that does a spoof on interviewing.
Jiminy Glick.
Yes, I'm trying to do a Jiminy Glick impression. Okay, enough for that. Just kidding. Just kidding. You deserve all the respect. I'm just being silly. You know me very well. So
I love you to death. It's all good.
It's like, okay, enough already. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Los Angeles, California. I was the son of a trial lawyer on one side of the family. And on the other side of the family, we had showbiz. My stepfather was a Hollywood Squares producer, the original Squares, and my mother was a comedy writer, the head writer of Charles in Charge. And so she ascended in the 80s as a writer.
Can you get me a date with Scott Baio?
You wouldn't want one.
Okay.
Next subject. Run for the hills. I would think. I don't know the guy. I've not heard good things.
Okay, cool. Next subject. So you came from a family on your dad's side where he was a trial lawyer.
Yeah.
By day. What was he by night?
Well, he was an author. He wrote a book called High Stakes about his experience trying the Howard Hughes will. And he was a very funny guy, really acerbically funny. He wrote other books too, but High Stakes was the one that got published. And he was a trial lawyer, and he liked to fly planes, which was not a fortuitous choice of a hobby, as it turns out, but good guy, really funny. In my family, funny was money. The currency was comedy. You had to be funny. You had to be funny to get along in either one of these households. There was a high bar for being funny. So
you have potential for a joke about your trial lawyer dad and a high bar. Get it? Bar?
Yes, I do. That's a good one.
You can have it.
That's a good one.
I'm your muse.
Well, you're amusing.
So you on your mother's side, no, on your stepdad's side, where your mother was at, you had all this talent that produced and put on, I mean, two of the hottest shows in my childhood. Really, people don't know that. Wake up. You think you're woke? You're not
Yeah.
woke unless you know this.
Oh, Hollywood Squares is a legendary thing. I mean, they keep bringing it back in new iterations year after year.
Yes.
It changed the face of game shows for sure. And I
Yes.
think Bill Armstrong, my stepfather, was the guy who started the zingers tradition in a writing room. The way I understand it is that he came up with this. They were writing jokes. It's a quiz show, so they were writing questions and answers. And when it came to Paul Lynde, the question was, what's a strawberry fool? And Bill Armstrong, I believe, if I understand things correctly, said, wouldn't it be funny if Paul Lynde said to Peter Marshall, I don't know, beaver face? and they all got a laugh out of it. And then they just started writing those kinds of joke answers. The whole idea, I think, was created on the fly. But once they hit it hard. And the jokes were what made Squares great.
Yes.
And you know, Charles in Charge, actually, my mother, I want to give props to my mother, Adrienne Armstrong Adler, who was the head writer, I think, with her partner, Mitzi McCall Brill, of Charles in Charge. And she did really exemplary work on that. Some really impressive episodes.
No kidding.
Far and above the average, I'd say.
What was your favorite episode?
Oh, The Cage. Definitely. I think my brother Paul had a good hand in writing this one too, because we used to knock these jokes around over the dinner table. So as I recall, there was an episode of Charles in Charge where, as a protest against animal cruelty, Charles and Buddy, played by Willie Ames from Eight Is Enough, put themselves in a cage in like their local diner as a protest action, and then they couldn't find a way out. And this I think was brilliant. It was that was stellar. It turns out in the end they just had to lift the cage up because it had no floor, so they could walk out at any time. But it was the idea of penning two characters together, which is a sitcom classic, done superbly in the Shubuti episode of All in the Family. But it's the same tradition of you put two characters in a tight space and just let them have at it. And she did it, I think, brilliantly. And I think Paul had a lot to do with that episode too, I think.
Fabulous. So you grew up being funny. You had to be. Did you ever go through a rebellion where you're like, screw you guys, I'm rebellious, I'm not gonna be funny?
Nope.
Why
always
not?
tried to please. Never rebelled against that. I rebelled against some things, but not against being funny. Always wanted to be funnier. Always wanted to be funnier. In fact, in my childhood, you know, you have dinner with your family. Everybody used to have dinner time with their family. And in my families, both of them, there was a lingering time afterward where you'd sit and talk. You'd kibitz, is the Jewish word for it, I think, Hebrew word for it. And that was the best time of the night, after dinner, when you sat around. And when I was a kid, I remember when I was welcomed to stay for the kibitzing after dinner. And that's when I felt like I was accepted and I was part of I could keep up. You know,
At what age were you when that happened?
Geez, I don't know, like 12-ish, 13-ish or so. Before that, it would have been leave the dinner table and go watch TV.
Yes.
But then at a certain point, it became more valuable to stay at the table and become a man in a way.
Yes.
In a way, become part of the family more so.
It's kind of like a home bar mitzvah.
Yeah. I wonder if other families do that. I don't know. It's valuable, though. That's something I miss because the family has changed, you know. things have changed, but
Once
and
the
especially tonight, I think of that today, Thanksgiving Day,
yes,
when the kibitz would have been big time. It would have been a
yes,
full-on post-meal kibitz session.
yes.
It would have been grand.
I know I was on a show last night with Gladys Simon in New York. She's helped a lot of comics along the way. And she calls Thanksgiving a Goyish holiday. Doesn't even think of it as anything Jewish
Really?
people. Yeah, she has a whole bit about Thanksgiving being a Goyish holiday. It's
Oh,
not important. That's just
I
her character. That's her character.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
funny.
from the Hebraic view of things, it's very much a Jewish holiday.
Yes.
Any holiday is, you know.
Yes. So you have a lot of fond memories about sitting around in a Jewish home around Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, we weren't that Jewish though. We were only Jewish by happenstance.
What's
I mean,
that?
my father
What?
was a self-hating Jew, and my stepfather wasn't Jewish at all. So I'm only Jewish because I happened to be that in my blood. But we weren't like, Hanukkah Jews. We were Christmas Jews,
Hey,
if that makes any sense.
this
Oh,
is
nice.
I got this at the Dollar Tree. I have to have a Christmas tree because I'm only half Jewish, and it's the wrong half.
Well, that's why you got a small tree.
Yes, that's why
You
there's
gotta
no.
tell them it's a Hanukkah bush if
Yes.
they knock on your door, which they might.
Out of respect for Judaism, I don't have a cross at the top, and I only have one ball hanging. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that.
We Jews got balls, baby. We got balls all over the place. They hang down big. How about another song?
I want to hear more about your life, or do you want to do a song and then come back and talk? I'd rather finish a little bit of your life first.
Ask me more. I love to talk about my favorite subject, me.
What kind of a Michigan kid were you in high school?
Oh, well, I was a band geek. Everybody's got a clique somewhere in school they fall into in high school, and I was a band geek. I was in the A band, jazz band, and I had my friends in that little circle, but basically I was a band geek.
So you had your own band, or are you talking about band class?
Both.
Oh, wow.
When I say band geek, I mean I was in band class.
Uh-huh.
I was in the school jazz band, but I also did have my own bands always. Always had a band with Rich Johnson. And let me say hello to Richard Johnson if you're listening, Rich. How are you, buddy?
Who's Richard Johnson?
Oh, drummer from some of my high school bands. Great guy, beautiful man.
Who's the most famous person
And
that you
also,
grew up with besides?
John Doctor too. High school guy, fellow band geek, fellow bandmate, beautiful man, John Doctor. If you're watching, love you, buddy. Who's the most famous person I've ever known?
Grown up with. Did you grow up with somebody who's become, because like I grew up with Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman.
Oh yeah, okay, all right. Well, let's see.
Name drop.
All right, let's see. Robbie Rist. He's just about the most famous person, maybe. He played Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch.
Got it.
And he was also on Bionic Woman several times as a regular, I think.
We're almost related.
Yeah.
Now we're almost related.
Robbie and I are practically brothers. I love that guy. Here's to you, Robbie Rist. Love you, buddy. Props. Robbie's a brilliant guitar player. He's the best guitar player I've ever known. And great producer, music producer, and songwriter and singer and shit. Robbie's got it all over the place.
Because he's willing to take a risk.
You did a little wordplay on me there. Robbie Rist is his name.
I won't go into that.
I think maybe the most famous person I personally know would be Fred Willard.
Oh, you know Fred Willard?
Yeah, we lost Fred this year, but he's a good family friend. My brother got married in his backyard. His wife, Hope Willard, was one of my mom's top friends. But maybe Peter Marshall is more famous than Fred. I'm not sure. We certainly know Pete. He's like an uncle. He's like my uncle.
Everybody loves
Such a
Peter
sweet guy.
Marshall.
Everybody loves Pete. Yes, they do, and with good reason, because he's superb. What a gentleman. What
Perfect
a good
host.
perfect for that job. He was perfect. He reinvented that job. He recreated the job of game show host, I believe. And
tell the young
All
people
props to Peter Marshall. My God,
tell the young people some of the things he hosted.
Peter Marshall.
Remind me is what I'm saying.
Well, I think only Hollywood Squares. I mean, I knew he did a few commercials before Squares, and he got the Squares, and I think he wrote it for as long as he could until the end of the show. He stayed on it until the
What's
until
with
the
that
end of
long, skinny microphone? What was with that?
That's
Remember
somebody
that?
else. I think that's Pat Sajak.
No.
Pete was behind a desk. Pete was behind like a podium.
Really?
With contestants on either side. And I think the long black microphone was Pat Sajak, or I think it was
somebody else
who stood, well, because Pat Sajak stood independently. He didn't have a podium, I don't think.
Pat Sajak is still,
sure.
Yeah, somebody had a long skinny mic. I could have swore it was Peter Marshall, but whatever.
I don't think so. But I've also never seen him naked, so I don't really.
He had a long skinny. Peter Marshall's still alive.
Great house. Oh, yes, he is. My mom just saw him recently, apparently, and they posted a picture with each other, and it was very cute, heartwarming picture of these two old friends. He's like in his 90s, I think, and he's thriving and doing great. You know, he sings. He's a performer. I think he's got a radio show.
Nice.
Called Boy Singer, something like boysinger.com or something. Boysinger.com, I think, is Pete's website.
Did you ever meet Wink Martindale?
And by the way, his wife is gorgeous.
No way.
Not on Laura. Oh.
So I don't stand a chance. Okay, fine.
Not with Pete. Sorry. No.
What about Wink? I have a crush on Wink Martindale. Did you ever meet him?
I never did.
Remember that song about the deck of cards back in the 50s?
Nope.
You're not old enough to know this. Yeah. It would have been perfect for today when you do your special song, because it was all about how the cards relate to somebody in war.
Oh.
Beautiful song.
No, I don't know it.
You got to listen to it. You'll be crying in your room down one floor below me before the day is over.
It wouldn't be the first time today.
Get a bottle of wine and really have fun. So talk to me about
the first time today.
Yes, I heard you. Please tell me what happened after high school that got you to LA, then on to beggar fame in Portland, Oregon, and then you've been a world traveler and now you're in Vegas. Let's hear the story so you can do some songs.
Wow. Well, it's a pretty bad story. At least it's not that amusing. After high school, I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts, where I studied music I had lofty aspirations to be a genius of some kind. I was, a Bob Dylan fan, so I believed in my friend Robbie Rist used to call me the defender of the faith.
Wow.
And I spent a lot of years pursuing that lofty goal. And that was stupid, but I wasn't bad at it. I got to be pretty good, but then I kind of had a nervous breakdown sort of in my 20s. And
well, you were really, that's early. You didn't even wait for midlife. I
didn't even wait. I just jumped right into it. And then I gave up music and decided to become a writer, a novelist. And then I spent a bunch of years pursuing screenwriting. And then I never really escaped the music thing. I kind of kept going back to it and then not. And then, I did a lot of things. I spent my life being a sort of an artistic journeyman. So it wasn't always about music. I have plays, stage plays. I've written and directed 3 stage plays, Soul Cancer, which Robbie stars in brilliantly, And Last Tango with Marlon, about the friendship between Marlon Brando and Wally Cox. That has the geniuses of Frank Cavastani and Rolf Morrow, who are incredible in that piece. And I also did a 2-act stage musical about the making of I Love Lucy.
What?
It's called Redhead Cuban Hausfrau Husband. And it's got music. It's a musical. It's got music, and it's good. I liked it anyway. Some people like it very much, others not so much. But so I did that for a while, and then when I was in Portland, I wound up in Portland for real estate business, and I needed a way to get out of the house. And I'm not tall, and I'm not handsome, and I'm not young, despite what my song says. So I needed an excuse for people to look at me. I couldn't just go out there and coast on, hey, how you doing? I had to rely on my strengths. And I didn't want to do the open mics of like folk song houses or whatever the open mics were of singers. You know what I mean? I've done that. I've done it. And it was boring. So I thought I would try comedy. I've always written funny songs, but I never really deliberately created a novelties act. So when I was in Portland, it just seemed like the natural thing to do. I took some of my older songs and wrote some new ones and tested them out. You know, I did Where I Met You on the comedy circuit, and the things that worked. And I did some recording and did some downloadable singles that are all over the internet. And then I became a world traveler and went to Ecuador for half a year, which was great. But they don't do comedy in Ecuador. But it was great. Anybody who wants to do that should do it. And then I came back to Portland, but there was nothing happening in Portland. Portland is not Vegas. I wanted to come to Vegas where you came. I wanted to follow your example and do the big town. So I wrote some new material, packed up my guitar, and here I am.
Yes. And you're meeting a lot of people and they're loving you. And you got to perform at a fabulous venue, Extreme Comedy Club, inside of a little strip mall. Who would ever think you did so well? You hung with the big boys and you knocked it out of the park. I was so proud of you. I've never heard you deliver your song, your music, your novelty specialty. You know, I never saw you do that live where you were wanted. I saw you do it at a club in Portland where you weren't treated fairly. And here you were where you were wanted, and you were at a level of everybody else that was on this show. You're such a pro. And I can see the years and years of experience as you were singing. It was amazing to watch you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. It was great. I did feel like I was in the zone.
Yep.
I do love this thing.
Yes. Can you go to the thing now and do your thing? And just do things still go better with Coke? Do things still go better with Coke?
Here is okay. Here's a song for. I hope children aren't watching this.
No, I told them not to. If you don't. This is a 3 seconds. Get your children out of the room.
This song is called "Think About Me." He said, "Hello, darling, how are you? I'm doing well, hope you are too. Are you the same girl I adored years ago, or maybe more? One thing more I've got to say. I've got VD in a really bad way. And if you've got VD too, I probably gave it to you. So when your pussy bleeds green and burns real mean, and your tits swell up like a bulldog pup, and your twat feels whacked with a bloody ass crack, you'll see. You'll think about me." And she said, "Asshole, can't believe this call. Wanna chop off your balls, stick them straight in your ears, so that you can finally hear what an asshole you sound like. This call is ruining my life. And he said, well, when your pussy bleeds green and burns real mean, sing along, Linda. And your thumb feels wet. You know the words. Spot feels wet with the bloody ass crack, you'll see. You'll think about the time you slept with my brother. The time you slept with my pa. The song got more intense than you expected it to be. The narrative is more complex, you see. And they said to each other, I hope your pussy drops out while you scream and shout. I hope your balls drop off from whooping cough. I hope your ass bleeds fire while you expire. I hope your pussy drops out while you scream and shout. Balls drop off from whooping cough. Ass bleeds fire while you expire. Everything about you dies, dies, dies. And they sang to each other, hello, darling, how are you? Are you still in love with me too?
Yay! Woo!
Thanks. That's his song called Think About Me. It's fairly filthy.
Beautiful.
Shall I do the other one now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Now, do the intro to it.
Okay, I will. Which one? Christopher Walken or the straight ahead?
The special song.
The special song. Okay. Okay. Well, folks, thank you for having me on your show, Linda. I'm so honored to be here. It took a long time for us to pull this together, but I'm really, really happy.
It's like really good sex, long time coming.
That's a good line. That's a good joke. Okay, so anyway, folks, sometimes I do this comedy thing, but I do a lot of other things. I got plays and books and all the like. And I do a covers act, which is, I think of it as Embarcadero, which is a street which heads to a pier, generally where you embark from one thing to another, and Embarcadero. I'm going to make a record called Embarcadero Volume 1, so I want to plug that. But this is a covers act I do at restaurants and cafes. And one of the songs really touches me today because of the things that are going on, and because it's Thanksgiving, and because this is America. And I just want to play it, and thank you, Linda, for letting me play it.
Are you kidding me? I'm delighted.
Well, I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy. I hope you enjoy listening as much as I enjoy playing it. And I just so value this country, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
And if you're speaking English, it's because I was in the Army.
Nice one. Okay, here we go, America. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. And I hope you enjoy this. Give me a job, give me security. Give me a chance to survive. I'm just a poor soul on the unemployment line. My God, I'm barely alive. My mother and my father, my wife and my friends, they laugh in my face. But I got the power and I got the will. I'm not a charity case. I'll take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my eye to the keyhole. If it takes all night, I'll be just who I am. Gonna be a blue-collar man. Make me an offer that I can't refuse. Make me a respectable man. It's my last time on the unemployment line. So like it or not, I'll take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my eye to the keyhole. If it takes all night, I'll be just who I am. Gonna be a blue-collar man. Keeping my eyes on a better life, where happiness is only a heartbeat away. Paradise, can it be all that I heard it was? I close my eyes, maybe I'm already there. I'll take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my eye to the world. If it takes all night, I'll be just who I am. Gonna be a blue collar man. Gonna be a blue collar man.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Would you tell me
Linda.
tell me the inspiration and meaning you have behind that song now that you sang it?
Well, to me, it speaks of the American dream, a hope and resilience, and a willingness to keep on fighting.
Amen.
You know, the American dream lives on.
Yes.
Despite the challenges that are often inherent in achieving our dreams.
Yes.
The American spirit lives on.
Yes.
And it always will. It always will. That's what I'm most grateful for this year.
Yes.
On this Thanksgiving is that I'm an American.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. What's the next song you're going to give to us today?
Well, here's a song from the 1990s.
Yes.
How about that? I'm a decent guy. In fact, I'm pretty cool. I made a good dollar and I put my kids to school. Had lots of friends, really well loved. But all of that just hit me like a three-fingered glove. My life is in a whirl, must be in a state of shocking that I can't stop talking like Christopher Walken. Took a meeting with my boss, talking just like Christopher Walken. He looked at me strangely. I just kept on talking. He wouldn't shake my hand or look me in the eye. The next day I was fired and they wouldn't say why. I said discrimination, but they said that's a crock. It's that you can't stop talking like Christopher Walken. As I've seen one too many independent films, he's in every one that exacerbates my ills. Pull my hair back, I bug my eyes out, but that's not what Christopher Walken's all about. No, that's not what Christopher Walken's all about. People walk away when they see me on the street. I get the weirdest looks from the people that I meet. I can't make friends. Everybody thinks that I'm a creep. And I can't get laid because women think I'll kill them in their sleep. My brain is in a whirl, must be in a state of shocking that I can't stop talking like Christopher Walken. Can't stop talking like Christopher Walken. Can't stop talking like Christopher Walken. You know, I can't stop talking to you, Linda Marcus Smith, like Christopher Walken.
Yes. Now you look like and you sing very similar to a very famous person who was a duo act and now is off by himself, Paul
Yes.
Simon. Do you do any of his songs?
No, actually I don't. That's a good question.
Can you just do like Bridge Over Troubled Water or something for me? Anything?
I can't.
I want to close my bad eye and pretend that you're Paul Simon.
Well, I'm short and fat, so it's the best I can do. No, I don't, you know, let's see.
I never thought about that ahead of time to prepare you.
Feeling groovy. I know, I really couldn't. I really couldn't. But I do have a mashup act, actually. The multi-talented me. I have a character called Max Mashup, where I do mashups of different tunes. And one of them, I do the song Wannabe by the Spice Girls.
Yes.
Which works great with Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yes.
The mashup is great. Maybe it's online on YouTube, I'm not sure, but it works really well.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, like, you know, don't like a bridge over troubled water. It works perfectly. I have a lot of mashups. Max Mashup. Go to maxmashup.com, folks, and I believe you'll hear a clip of it. maxmashup.com.
Wow, that's cool. So
I think I'm the only live performing mashup act. I think.
Wow.
But I'm not really performing that at the moment because I have so many other acts to do.
Yes. Well,
The
you
comedy
have
is what I want to do. The comedy is what I love. And then the covers are fun too. You know? It's all fun.
If you told us right here, right now, all the famous people you've worked with and your parents have worked with, you'd probably have a hell of a lot of haters.
Would I?
Yeah, I think you'd have a lot of jealous people out there that don't want to work hard to achieve their dreams, that would be like, oh, that guy thinks he knows everybody. Oh, I don't even believe it. You'd have haters.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Want to have
I was
some
just
haters?
lucky to know some of these awesome people. They're Peter Marshall and Fred Willard are beautiful souls, and I'm so privileged to have known them.
That's
but
right.
it's not like I'm traveling around with Paul McCartney or anything.
You've never used people to get anywhere. You've done all the hard work on your own. You could have had some nepotism, favoritism.
You know, Alex Trebek was a close family friend.
Really?
But I can't say that I knew him as well as I know Pete. But he was a very dear friend to my mom and stepfather, and he and Pete, he and his wife, and Peter and his wife, and my mom and her husband were all like a gang that traveled around together and had fun and had parties and stuff. And when Trebek died, that was rough.
Yeah, and that wasn't that long ago. What was that, like a month ago?
It was just recently. Yeah, it was rough. But I didn't know him as well as like Pete. I'd call my uncle. I don't know if I ever talked to Alex Trebek.
Did he?
So I can't say that I knew him.
Did he make you talk in the form of a question?
What is I don't know. That work?
That's a perfect answer. Very good. What do you want out of life?
Woof. That's a good question, Linda.
It's been a long time since anyone took a look at me and said woof.
I would like I'd like to retire. What I'd like to do is perform full time, and because I'm a writer, I'm a ghostwriter. I write romance novels, as you may or may not know. I believe you do, but your viewers probably don't. And so I do that full time, and I'd like to move on from that. I'd like to move on to full time performing, and to put the writing away, because I do it a lot, and it's been a long time, and I feel like I've done it a bit of enough, and I'm lucky to have a job. Anybody with a job like mine should not be complaining, and I'm not.
What if you got a resident?
I'd like to have an easier job.
I have a thought that just came to my pretty little head.
Okay.
What if you got a residency like at Planet Hollywood or LA Comedy Club, where you could do all of your songs, and that's a show? Because like right now at LA Comedy Club, they have a cowboy that does jokes as a cowboy character. So there's got to be a club that'll put you on as a residency with your acts.
I'm all in. I think that's a great idea. Come to me, folks. FletcherRhoden.com is my website. FletcherRhoden@yahoo.com is my email. Come see me. Talk to me.
He's here. Fantastic on stage.
Available. Well, I do enjoy it. I say without reservation. It's the most fun you can have.
Yeah.
Really.
You do ghostwriting. You're not a joker. Like, you don't write, set up, punch, and do jokes. You do your comedy inside of music performing. Yes,
that is true. However, I did write a new act I'm looking for a couple actors, and that's all jokes. That's set up joke, set up joke, set up joke. And it's going to be great.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that, folks. We'll give you more information when we have it.
Yes.
But that's set up joke, set up joke, you know, in a classic style. I'm very excited about it. I read the rough draft today, and I thought this is ready to share.
Wonderful. What is it that, where can people go to support you and get you more followers? Because followers are important nowadays.
I guess they are. Well, Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I'm Fletcher Rhoden, FletcherRhoden on Facebook. Again, my website is FletcherRhoden.com. My email is FletcherRhoden@yahoo.com. It's all fairly easy to remember. Once you get the name, you've got the whole deal.
Yes.
The name is a little strange, but once you get it, you're done. And come and see me online, and let's get the comedy out. Let's get me out there. I'm great. I'm the sexiest guy in the world, after all.
That's his new brand. You can
how can you resist?
Can we buy your t-shirts and give them to our husbands so they can be the sexiest guy in the world? Or do they not sell? Are you selling those?
I just created them just for me to wear, but I imagine they can be bought from cafepress.com. But I'm not sure of that. I don't know.
Yes.
But they've got a little scribble of my little face. Can you see this?
Yes.
Kind of weird.
Yes.
But it's a plug, I'm all about plugging.
Yes. What would you like people to know? You've been around comedy. What is something that you've learned from watching comics and comedians that is a good tip for people thinking about being a comedian or being a better comedian, Fletcher? Because you've had a lot of time to observe them.
Well, yes, I would say definitely. That's a good question too. I would say, know your shtick, know what you're doing. There are two things operative in comedy. There's an act, and there's your shtick. So my act is modern novelties. That's the act I'm doing. But my shtick is a character who's more particular, because there are different ways to do modern novelties. You can do parodies like Weird Al, or you can do scatological like Garfunkel and Oates, or Flight of the Conchords. And my character, they're duo acts. So my shtick is like Paul Simon with Tourette's syndrome. I'm like Paul Simon. I consider myself to be the choir boy from hell. But this is a character, not an act. The act is modern novelties. The character is my shtick, and it's a more precise thing. And I always find the funniest comics to be the ones who know what their character is, who know what their shtick is, not their act, because their act is stand-up, or maybe their act is wild man or whatever. But the character is important in comedy, I would say.
Yes.
That's what I would say. Jokes are fallible things. Jokes are little things. That's why they have to be barbed, so that they don't get stepped on by everybody who walks by. But you can change a joke at the last minute, but you can't change your character at the last minute. Wow. That's why the character is more important. In sitcoms, they say you can't have any calm without a steaming pile of sit. So it's really the situation that creates the comedy.
Wow.
And that's shtick. And that's what I would say. That's the advice I'd give to young writers of comedy or practitioners of comedy, any comic actor or director or writer.
Now, you're not a comedian, but one of my favorite comedians who always has me dying laughing is just what you mentioned. So he has the act of comedy, and his character is, he's decided that he's the opposite of Tony Robbins. And so he's pretending to be Tommy Llama. Do you know who I'm talking? Tommy Savitt, Tommy Llama. His whole shtick is, I'm a guru. And then he does the opposite of a guru. He stands up there and gives bad advice in the form of a bunch of puns.
Wow.
one
Right.
after the other. And he kills every time. And people hate puns, but because he knows his shtick, it kills every time.
There you go.
So I think that's
every great comic that you can think of knew his shtick.
Give me some examples you're thinking of.
Well, Robin Williams knew what his job was.
What was his job?
He was the improvisatory wild man. He did improvisation. He was a wild card. That was his character. Lonesome George Gobel was a schlep. Woody Allen is a nebbish. Dennis Miller did political rants.
Tell me more about Woody. What was Woody?
What they were doing. They knew what their job was. They knew.
Explain Woody Allen. You used a word that I don't know.
Nebbish. It's a Jewish word, and it means a little man who is pitiful, a sorrowful little sack of sadness. You know, a little complaining Jewish guy. You know, that's a nebbish. And that's the character he played. And he played it very well, you know, constantly. But, you know, that's the only thing he ever did. But he knew his shtick, and that was that.
It might be how he got lucky.
He also had the New York intellectual thing. So he'd be a nebbish talking about philosophy. But basically, he was a nebbish, you know, and that's fine. It worked for him, you know. We were talking about the great insult comic, Don Rickles. Well, he was an insult comic, and that's what he did. That was his shtick, and he didn't change it. He mastered it, and that's what he was. You know, the arrow that hits its mark flies in a single direction. And that's something I have to constantly remind myself of, because I'm doing all these things, different times. But there's a lot to be said for the arrow that flies in a single direction is the one that hits its target. It's something I have to remind myself of often. I'm sorry.
Who is your favorite novelty act besides yourself?
Oh, well, no one comes close to me, really. But, I'm sorry. I like Tom Lehrer from the 50s. Tom Lehrer, he's a piano player, had a lot of socio-political songs. I think the 50s, maybe the 60s. Very good. That was the year that is probably the record I recall best from Tom. Famously reclusive, still alive, I believe. I like Garfunkel and Oates. In this day and age, I like Garfunkel and Oates very much. I like Flight of the Conchords for this kind of act. I'm told that I remind people of Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Who also does songs that are funny.
But you're nicer than him, I hear.
I've never met him, so I don't know the man. But I get the comparison, though.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
I get that, but I liked Flight of the Conchords. I thought their show was very good. I thought Garfunkel and Oates had a good show. I like their songs. Those are the acts I'd say are my favorite for novelties these days.
Have you ever written the funny words to the 12 Days of Christmas?
No, but I'm about to write funny words to the Impossible Dream.
Oh, I want to hear that.
Yeah, it's going to be called the Ghost Rider's Lament.
Ooh,
you know,
I like that. I like that.
You write the unwritable crap.
Well, what's something you want to say as we wind up an entire almost hour? Do you want us to talk? People are going to come on and listen, and sometimes they look at the beginning and they look at the end. So if I were to come on here and I don't know you, I know you. You've been my landlord and my friend for a couple years now. I don't keep track of time, but yes, peace at peace. So if someone were to come on here and go, who the heck is this guy? and we barely want to know her. Who is the guy she's with? What would you tell people in a wrap up? You have 3 to 5 minutes to just talk to those trolls that come on and after the fact and go, who's she talking to now? Wrap it up for us in your own words.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Wow.
thank you for tuning in. I've been Fletcher and I will continue to be Fletcher. Catch me here. I love doing that. Anything you want to say, anything. Don't listen to me. Do your thing.
Okay. Well, this has been great. I am Fletcher Rhoden, and you can see me at fletcherrhoden.com or visit me on Facebook at Fletcher Rhoden at Facebook. I do modern novelties and cover songs and a variety of things, really. A few published books you might enjoy: 50 Shades of Trailer Park Boys, TPB and the Great Comedic Traditions. That's one of the things I'm best known for, actually. It's about comedy, the history of comedy. And I've just had a lot of fun. I'm performing in Las Vegas, so come see me at all the big clubs. The bigger, the better. And book me at them too. For those of you who are out there looking for comics, I am ready to go. I'm loaded for bear. And we're going to have a great year in 2021. It's going to be a great year, and I'm looking forward to it. And that's about
pretty
it.
much it. Do you skateboard?
Thank you for having me on your show, Linda.
Yes. Before we go, tell people one personal thing about you that the world has not heard yet. Do you skateboard? Do you flip off taxi drivers at 4 a.m? What's your favorite thing to do that nobody knows?
I love pornography.
Says it with a straight
it's what
face.
keeps me alive.
Oh, you're gonna be a hit in Vegas.
Pick the right town. From Van Nuys to Vegas, it's the pornographer's dream.
Give me a V. You're good with the V's. I think there's something else that starts with a V, but I can't remember what it is.
Oh, I'd love to have sex with a woman. If any women out there want to have sex with me, I'm right here, baby. I'm so lonely and sad.
I'm going to laugh my way out of here. Thank you so much, Fletcher Rhoden, your doll. Thank you for being my personal friend, my ex-landlord, and thank you for being a delight to watch on stage as well.
All thanks to you, Linda. This has been my pleasure and my privilege.
I'm going to tag this to some bookers.
Do it.
All righty. See you later,
thanks.
friend.
We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.